podcast. I really hope that you're hearing the web.com podcast right now, because that would mean that working as intended.
Yeah, you were hearing it, but unfortunately, as you could hear, part of the audio for the final mock draft was corrupted. I was joined by Caleb and Tim. We did it. We were in the post Skype era, trying out some new stuff, and it just didn't work the way that I hoped that it would. But it could have been a lot worse because the second round in its entirety made it. We are good to go. When we get to the second round of this thing, it'll just be a normal podcast. But for the first round, we are going to try something a little bit different. I am going to solo run this ship and go through the conversation that we had on the pod last night. I'm going to try to capture as much as I can from our discussion. I'm going to insert a couple of janky clips where it is applicable to do so, and we are going to do things that way. So let's get this thing started, and I'm going to jump myself over here. Wow, look at this, the power of video. It's maybe we should do video pods all the time. I don't know. We'll find out. But all right, let's kick it off. The Moneymakers at 101. This one obviously is pretty easy. And we did not have a long discussion about this one. We didn't really entertain any, potential shenanigans that could happen on draft night. I posed the question to Tim. You can hear it from him. Let's take a look. What did Tim say when I asked if he would make a big offer again for this pick?
Tim, you gonna come at me with a big offer?
No, not again. Someone else can do it this year.
So as you can tell, not even the insulin pens want to mess around with this one. I did bring up the fact that I had thought at one point long and hard about Travis Hunter and the dual nature of his game and all of that stuff. I've ran through all of the scenarios in my head. I am very comfortable. I have a very clear mind going into web draft night in just a few days that this pick will be Ashton Jeanty. The RB2 spot for the Moneymakers will be solved. So we went Ashton Jeanty 101, no surprises. All right. So 102. It was brought up that the hit song Bass Fishing with Travis certainly may influence this pick. Not in the sense that it locked anything in for Dirty Dave that wasn't already locked in, but in the sense that if a team, such as David Wilson Batman, wanted to jump up to this spot to take Travis Hunter, it feels as though the cost of that trade increased after the release of Bass Fishing with Travis. Kayla brought up the fact that a similar, effect, the Web Records songs dropped, and Lad Country had a similar effect on Lad McConkey. There's some question about the integrity of Web Records moving forward. Will this be a vehicle for people to potentially approach Web Records, have songs made to drive up the value of picks? I don't know. Let's hear what Caleb had to say about that.
I'll be looking into that next off season when Web Records goes full sellout.
So it remains to be seen what Web Records will do moving forward. But also, before I forget, we did talk about something that may actually change this pick, and that is just how gay Bass Fishing with Travis is. Maybe you didn't even realize it. Let's jump over to last night.
Just look for all of the little innuendos that you might have missed. Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Maybe Dave's
Here we
not.
go.
Maybe he's willing to move it now that he thinks that he reads in the lyrics anymore. He's like, I don't know if I want to.
So I don't know. Maybe the door is open after all, but I highly doubt it, as did we last night. So we, of course, sent Travis Hunter to the boys. Dirty Dave and Travis Hunter united at long last. 103. The Men of Mystery. First two picks, easy peasy. This one described as easy threesy. He literally came out in his Web Tribune piece and talked about the fact that he is selecting Omarion Hampton at this pick. There is no question. He felt comfortable saying it. I think everybody else kind of knew that already. So he came right out and said, I'm taking Hampton, and therefore this is another easy one. It was Omarion Hampton. Okay, now let's have a little bit of fun, because number 4 is certainly where the draft begins this year. I think everybody understands that. We talked about that last night. We talked about the fact that, it seems like Dan is honed in on a running back. It seems like that's kind of where everybody's minds have been at. But Papoose raised a very interesting point about a certain wide receiver, Tetairoa McMillan. Let's roll that.
I'm gonna get big brain here for
Okay.
you. Dan's a good roster builder. Wide receivers have that longer shelf life. He's gonna start feeling a Henry and Mixon yet. That buys him the time to let Tet kind of, develop.
Now, Tim made a great point there, and Caleb and I discussed this. We said, wouldn't be shocked if it was McMillan. But we were both thinking running back. It seemed like this voodoo magic that's keeping Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon going at the rate that they've been going, and specifically Derrick Henry, it's got to run out at some point. And we need running backs to be, the next era of this running back room. So we opted to go with a running back. We discussed which one that could be, Travion Henderson or Quinshon Judkins. I still think that's a very interesting conversation. Ultimately, we went with Travion Henderson at number 104. But this morning, we got some new information, and that was that the Pirate Crew have acquired Jonathan Taylor. Now, I'm not saying that trade means that he won't take a running back. I mean, he certainly could still use another name there. I mean, Taylor is in the prime of his career, but he's not necessarily a young player anymore, a young running back. So I still think he could take Travion Henderson here. But I think, based on all of the moves that he's made, to having 2 firsts and ultimately getting himself to number 4 in this draft, and then to trade multiple first-round picks next year for a running back like Jonathan Taylor, I think the door is very open now, more open than it was last night, for him to do what Tim suggested he might do, and that is take Tetairoa McMillan. It feels to me like he moved draft assets to get up here to 4, to put himself in position now to select a player like McMillan. Sure, he could take Henderson. I think you could argue that Henderson at 4 is like the absolute height of his range, to a point where maybe it's even a little too high for him. I don't know that every Web owner would agree with me on that, but that's kind of where I sit. And I think McMillan, at a value perspective, makes a lot more sense here. And now it makes a lot of sense for him to go in that direction based on the move that he just made. So Caleb, Papoose, I'm sorry, but I am going to change the pick that we made last night because I think this new information means that the Pirate Crew will take Tataroa McMillan at 104. Of course, at 105, with the Pirate Crew taking Henderson last night, we had David Wilson Batman taking Tataroa McMillan. I mean, it was a lot of the discussion centered around the fact that, for this level of a player to go to a team that literally broke the league last year is kind of incredible. And it's, it makes a lot of sense for him. This wide receiver 3 spot has certainly been one of his only, even remote weaknesses. So here you go. Get the number 1 wide receiver from the NFL draft in Tataroa McMillan. We did talk about the fact that, sure, he could use a running back too. I mean, I don't think it would have been as clear as day with McMillan being the option. But now, of course, with McMillan gone, running back is the only option. So I don't think he's necessarily upset about that because I think he really likes TreVeyon Henderson. And I think he has said it himself. He's compared Henderson's ceiling to Jahmyr Gibbs, who we just saw be one of the most, the RB1, I think RB2 in Webb last year, and not even with a full workload. I think even if Henderson has the same sort of splits in New England, if Frazier thinks Henderson can be that guy, he is going to be ecstatic to take him at number 5. So I think with McMillan now going at number 4, I think TreVeyon Henderson is the easy pick at number 5. Now, the drafts, we're going to go right back to where we were last night. These picks just flipped. McMillan and Henderson, we had it in a reverse order last night. I am flipping that here today. Now, the one pick of the first round that was clear, that our discussion was not tainted by any robotic, demonic voices, was pick number 6. So we're going to go roll our full discussion from pick number 6 and even jump into a little bit of 107 after that. Herb, your enthusiasm is up next. The next of our teams that has moved spots since the last mock draft. This was the swap with pick 4. Dan moving up, Riley moving down. So last time we had Riley selecting Tataroa McMillan at 4. Obviously, McMillan now gone. I think Quinshon Judkins would be the player that kind of stands out here if we're looking at the tier. But there also is the conversation of if he is a Caleb Johnson guy, it also wouldn't be absurd for him to draft Johnson over Judkins. So, Caleb, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this was, a smart move for him. He gets down and, at 6, at 4, you were choosing between probably TreVeyon, Tet, and Quinshon. And here at 6, that decision is made for you. Like, you're going to get one of those 3 players. There's an argument that Caleb Johnson could be in there, but I think he'd rather take the athlete in this scenario, which he likes to do. Even though Caleb does feel like a Riley running back, it's just kind of tough to sell me on, at least for me, a 3rd-round running back at pick 6. If Caleb is the guy, maybe we see him move down again. Maybe Parker, who feels like he just got leapfrogged by a Tim, tries to move up to that spot. But as of now, I think you go with the athlete, the guy who got the good draft capital and should have plenty of opportunity, and that's Quinshon Judkins.
I agree, because that's the pick I would make.
All right. There it is. Pick number 6, Quinshon Judkins, to Herb your enthusiasm. And now, if it didn't already get fun at 4, let's make it really fun at number 7. Because the Insulin Pens, the enigmatic Mr. Wildcard of Web Draft Night, moves in, trades Jalen Hurts in a deal with the Juicers to get to pick number 7. And there has been a lot of conversation about this spot, specifically centered around 2 teams that are picking, right next to each other in the Men of Mystery and the Insulin Pens over a certain position that would, potentially be the first one drafted in this class, a tight end. So, Tim, would you like to share any insights about what's happening right now with pick number 7?
I want you guys to talk about it first, and then I'll spill my beans.
So you're saying you're going to spill the beans.
I am going to spill the beans.
All right. Okay. Well, let's have a conversation and then let's get some spilled beans up in the web pod. So, Caleb, what do you think? Is this Colston Loveland stuff just a smokescreen, or what's going on here?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out here. I mean, you look at the tight end room, obviously Kelsey's starting to fall off. Evan Ingram has been difficult to trust the past year. So I feel like this feels like the spot to get sort of that tight end that you want to build around. You look at the receiving core, Amon-Ra, Addison, Evans is getting a little older, but you have Neighbors. I think the receiving room is pretty good. The running backs are solid. Yeah, so it feels like tight end is the biggest need at the moment. So I feel like if it were me, it kind of comes down to whichever tight end you like more between Loveland and Warren. So that's what I'd be going with.
All right. So Riley takes Quinshon Judkins in all scenarios here. I think the board 1 through 5 is going to shake out that way. I think Quinshon then becomes the easy pick for Riley. We got into a little bit of 107 there as well. And we talked about tight end for Tim. There's been a lot of smoke with 107. Tim said he's going to spill the beans. And he did, in fact, spill the beans. So we had the conversation about Warren, about Loveland, about everybody else on the board here. And ultimately, Caleb and I landed on Colston Loveland. And we turned the question back at Tim and asked him, is that correct? And his exact words were, in Sharpie. So days before the web draft, we apparently have a Sharpied pick from Mr. Insulin Pen himself that if the board were to fall this way, which I think is extremely likely, that he is no doubt taking Colston Loveland at 107. So is he continuing to play mind games with Parker? You can make a judgment for yourself, but as for right now, the best information that we have is that he is absolutely locked in on Colston Loveland there. So with that said, 108, I think a lot of people have connected Loveland and tight end specifically to Parker, and we talked about it with Loveland going off the board. Is it as easy as him just taking Tyler Warren in this spot? But we also brought up the name Caleb Johnson. And that prompted Caleb to come up with an entirely new name. Bromarian Johnson.
Put together Bromarian Johnson, that feels like a pretty good three.
This is Gen Z's version of DeMarco Richardson.
And what does Tim think?
It could be Warren or Johnson are both so fun, but you saying Bromarian Johnson really.
So there you have it. Bromarian Johnson is the future of the Men of Mystery running back room. We have Hampton and we have Caleb Johnson. Great value for Parker at number 8. That's going to upset the Dynasty team quite a bit because I think they've been thinking with recent conversations that they are potentially in the driver's seat for Caleb Johnson in this class. In this case, Men of Mystery take him at 108. What does that leave for the Dynasty team? Well, we all thought it was pretty easy. Let's listen in to Tim.
He has plenty of holes that need filling, so why not just take the best player at the position that also takes the longest to develop?
Pretty sound logic from Tim. We have a team here that is years away. Even if Warren is slow out of the gate, I think it makes a lot of sense for him. Immensely talented player. We know that he loves Tyler Warren. We've heard him talk about Tyler Warren for a long time. So I think this is an easy selection. Dynasty team, take Tyler Warren at pick 9. The Men of Mystery at 110. This was a tricky one for us. We went back and forth on a lot of picks. We were talking about Emeka Egbuka potentially here. That would seem like a great value for him in this spot. But we also brought up the name Abdul Carter. And I think for him, the conversation there is about getting an elite IDP. He has had a solid defense in the last couple of years, even during, the end of his rebuild era there. The defense was not terrible, but he does not have that guy. Let's listen to what Caleb had to say about Abdul Carter and the Men of Mystery.
I don't see the star power at this edge rusher spot. We've seen a lot of good defenses have those guys, and Latu, I think could develop, but it's like he doesn't have that guy. And I feel like Abdul Carter can be that guy to lead this defense.
And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know that he is willing to take Carter at this spot. I mean, we've talked about it. It would be the record. This would be a record-setting pick, highest IDP selected in a web draft. First time in IDP has gone in the top 10. I don't know if he's willing to do that, but I think this is the sort of player that could warrant it and one that makes a lot of sense for his roster. So we did, in fact, lock in Abdul Carter at number 10. The Dynasty team then back up at number 11. At first, this one seemed pretty easy with Emeka Egbuka. That's where I was. That's where Tim was. But Caleb threw a little bit of a wrench into things. Let's listen in.
I'm going to go Burden because he had him higher than Tyler Warren, which is wild because I know he was glowing about him. I mean, it could be a case that, whatever, but I'll say Burden. I'll let Tim have the final vote.
Caleb was very convincing. I was just gonna lock in Emeka Egbuka because I just thought that was a Colin guy, but so you rattled my cage.
So Caleb puts Tim into a blender. He's kind of putting me into a blender because I'm like, oh shit, he's right. Like, Luther Burden was higher on Colin's rankings. That's a very real thing. I wasn't convinced 100% that Colin would listen to his board as it sat a few weeks ago. I mean, it could have changed even, but it's still hard to put your money where your mouth is with a player like Egbuka staring you in the face and a player like Luther Burden, who is an absolute, mystery, it kind of feels like at this point, being your alternative option. But we let Tim be the deciding pick here. I was locking in Egbuka, Caleb was locking in Burden, and we gave the keys to Tim. And Tim went with Luther Burden. So Luther Burden was, in fact, the 11th pick in the web draft. That is a little bit of an interesting one. We'll see if it comes to light on web draft night. But in this case, we were pretty much in agreement unanimously that this would be one of the easiest picks in the draft. The Ohio State connection, the value, it's all there. The boys taking Emeka Egbuka at pick number 12. And that was the first round of the web mock. The final web mock, just days away. So, I hope I captured most of our discussion pretty well. Papoose, Caleb, if I missed anything, please, make your voices heard. But that was the first round, and now I am glad that I can turn it over fully to the three of us last night to go through the entire second round. So let's do that. Take it away.
Easy pick.
All right. Easy pick. Emeka Egbuka, who went 7th in our mock 1.0, now going 12th to the boys. And that is the first round. Let's get into the second round. We know Herb Your Enthusiasm controls the top 2 picks here, just as they did on mock 1.0. Last time we had him taking Matthew Golden and Cam Scadaboo. Are we thinking Golden here? Is it still Golden?
We'll do Golden at 13. I think it gets interesting at 14.
Okay. So Golden is a lock here. 13. 14.
Feels pretty wide open.
Very wide open. So compared to Mach 1.0, the top 13 players are the same. The order is obviously different, but the players are the same. And Cam Scadaboo was the one that went 14th last time around. I mean, it certainly could still be. I mean, he's in that tier along with 12 other guys, but do we have a feeling here?
For me, it's maybe between 3 players. I think Scadaboo could still be in the discussion, Mr. Contact Balance. You have RJ Harvey, who, say what you will, but second round draft capital, Broncos, fun player. I mean, this is, according to other drafts, this is a value here for getting RJ Harvey. And then also Jaden Higgins, goes the top round 2, goes to the Texans. I feel like it's between these 3 players, and I'll hear your guys' input and then decide.
I was gonna say that RJ Harvey just seems like the Riley guy. Like, he's good at it, good situation. He could be good, he could be meh. Just seems like such a middle of the road Riley pick that it makes sense to me.
This is a really tough one. I mean, I don't know what Riley thinks about Harvey necessarily. I think it makes sense for him to take him here, and especially because, I mean, right now, the running back 2 spot is fine, but it's not great right now. So, like, if you're thinking Harvey can be the guy that is, as everybody thinks he is, the RB1 in Denver, and this Sean Payton, love child, Alvin Kamara clone type of thing, then getting that player at 14, regardless of if you love him or not, is still a pretty good value. And he is Mr. Value after all. But that's also why I feel like Jaden Higgins would make a lot of sense here, because I think that's where the value is for me.
Here's the thing, that he did also just get AD Mitchell, so it's like, this receiving room was already very, very deep, and I don't know how much deeper you can go with the squad. Pittman, Waddle, Higgins, Judy, Ridley, Kupp, Godwin, Pearsall, Mitchell. It's like the deepest receiving room I've ever seen, and I just don't know. Higgins feels kind of repetitive to all these players, so that's why I feel like you got to pick the running back that you want here. And I'd probably side with you and just say RJ Harvey here. Most opportunity, can plug him in.
So we think Harvey over Scadaboo for him.
Yeah, it feels. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you have an argument for Scadaboo.
I mean,
can be swayed.
I don't. I have him ranked higher, but that's, I don't know if Riley would feel the same. And I think with getting Quinshawn at number 6, he's already kind of got the player that he thinks can be the RB2 for him as quick as this season. Why not take a dice roll on RJ Harvey? If this doesn't work out, it's your 3rd pick of the draft, and it's really not going to be that crippling as long as Judkins and, to a lesser degree, Golden are the players that you thought they were. So I think let's go Harvey.
All right.
So then the Men of Mystery at pick 15. This is a new spot for him. Well, actually, no. What I think happened last time was that we did a trade. This was the boys were
Okay.
always at 12. He was always at 15, but we had him trading up to 12 for Carter last time. He took Carter at 10 in this draft, and now he finds himself here at his actual spot of number 15. We had Jalen Knoll going here, but that was to the boys last time, and also a lot has changed. So again, board is wide open. Any leads on the men of mystery here?
Yeah, I don't think he goes running back again here. I mean, he got his Bromarian Johnson, and I mean,
but let me throw this one out there. What about a Bromarian
John Boo?
Scatterbro?
Wisconsin.
Romarian Johnson, bro.
Bromarian Johnson.
I mean, that is pretty awesome. But I mean, he did just move. I don't know. He did. What do we have him take? We had him taking, Abdul Carter, 2 running backs. I think maybe here you just take whatever receiver you like. Jaden Higgins feels like kind of at the top of this list with the draft capital. You can make an argument for Scatabo, Trey Harris, Jack Bash. I mean, it really opens up here. I think, he missed out on tight end, but it's maybe a little early to take one of those top tight ends unless he really likes one. So I think it kind of just comes down to whatever receiver he likes here. And I don't know, it feels like maybe value-wise that's Jaden Higgins, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think you take the big athletic guy. And just be happy.
I kind of think this is like a dream draft for Parker. I think this has just gone so well because
we've given him an A+ draft so far, haven't we?
we really
Pat our
have.
back, boys.
Hell yeah.
Like to get the 2 running backs, Hampton and Johnson, you're set there. We passed on wide receiver at number 10 to go for the top dog on defense, and now he's still going to end up getting a player like Jaden Higgins at number 15. That is a hell of a draft for him in the first 15 picks. I think we got to run this one up for Higgins. Where the hell is it? Oh my God, Higgins went at 21 in our last mock. That's crazy.
Well, I think that was right after the stoplight Matt Harmon dropped on the timeline.
Ah, that's right. That's right. All right, so the Pirate Crew. Hey, we're back. Pick number 4, Travion Henderson, now back up here at number 16. Last time we had him taking Jihad Campbell. Can't see that happening here.
That's a sick name.
Great, a fucking great name. But
we've reached that point in the draft for me, boys. It's we're getting to the vibes part.
Let's go. So Scatabo potentially here, but he did take the running back in the first. Not that he couldn't double up. There's certainly some wide receivers here. I don't know, Jim.
Yeah, the draft gets so wide open in this second round. It's like, I guess whatever second round receiver you maybe like. I mean, Jack Besh maybe. If you're looking running back, Scatabo. If you're feeling weird, go tight end. I feel like I'm trying to look if I had any. I don't think he had any Scatabo takes, not that I know of. But that's where I'd be leaning. I think all of a sudden you have, the new guard at running back, and it feels like Scatabo's got mixed reviews, a little later draft capital, but he's a damn good football player. And I think here Dan just tries to revitalize this running back room.
Dan likes exciting players. What about I see this little blurb on this Trey Harris guy says he's got great downfield speed.
I have a take actually from him on that. He said,
"What blurb are you looking at?"
Draft Sharks.
Fantasy Pros.
The only one that had a blurb with the rankings next to it. I told you, I looked in my area of the draft. I didn't do much outside of that.
It's okay.
what I'm looking at with these middle receivers, like he said, Trey Harris is pretty good, pretty big, pretty physical, pretty good hands, pretty good route runner, pretty good after the catch, but not sure if he's very good at anything yet. Don't think I'm quite as high as consensus, but I can see hope for pretty good turning into very good.
Hey,
So that wasn't a super big selling point.
that's the logic I used on Amon Ra. Maybe this could happen. Oh,
I mean,
no,
it does
I
seem
spoke
like
into
a
existence.
It does
God
seem like
damn
a
it.
damn player a little bit. And same with Jack Besh. He says, I like Jack Besh. I really do. He plays a nice brand of football. But if he's going where I see him projected most places, probably on someone else's fantasy team, he's a dog. And I do like him against zone after the catch. So maybe if the spot is right, I can get there. So I don't hear much on receivers he loves.
What about Webb's favorite wide receiver, Kyle Williams?
I have a take on that too. Like what I see out of Kyle Williams too. Might be best I've watched so far at creating separation early off line of scrimmage and against press. A bit of Jerry Jeudy syndrome in his routes sometimes, but no doubt he gets open. Recent hype seems justified to me. And honestly, the biggest one also, how have I not seen more Jalen Noel hype? Electric player, easy separation at all levels, great ball tracker downfield. Would not be surprised to see him creeping up boards like late like Ladd last year. It just it feels a little early for Noel, but that was a pretty glowing.
Yeah, I mean,
based on what he said, like the opportunity, I think that Kyle Williams has, and what he said about him, maybe I'd lean him. I don't know what he thinks about Cam Scatabo.
That's yeah. I do think if it's a receiver, it feels like it would be Williams here.
Yeah.
I think you're entering that range where all of these, like Josh, Carter, Parker, I think all of these teams are like hoping Kyle Williams falls to them.
And I also have data from your Web Best Ball draft. He took Kyle Williams in that.
Yeah.
And I know everyone was kind of like, darn, from what I've heard. So I'd be down to do Kyle Williams here.
Sure.
But also in that draft, Scatabo and Trey Harris were gone.
Yeah.
So it's really tough to say, but I'd be open to Kyle Williams here.
Fuck it. It's the final mock. Who cares? We're only trying to get them all right. Let's do Kyle Williams.
All right.
All right, Kyle Williams. There was a collective groan across the speed shop floor right now. Parker is on his knees right now, screaming. But he's a few picks away. Before we get there, we have 2 picks for the Rebel Alliance. And we had a long conversation last time about just how to get inside of Josh's mind here. We had him taking Harold Fannin and Jack Besh. So obviously, at least one of those is changing, but I would think maybe both are changing at this point. There are 2 names that are kind of jumping out at me. Obviously, Cam Scatabo is one of them. That feels like a Josh running back through and through. The other one would be Trey Harris. I think is starting to feel very value-y at this point as well.
Not only that, he, again, if you look back at the Web Best Ball draft, he took Trey Harris right after Jaden Higgins and Cam Scatabo were selected. So I feel like based on your hunch there and what we see, can pencil in Trey Harris, and then I'd be down to slide Cam Scatabo right in there with his other pick.
You down for that, Papoose?
Ding and ding. I'm in. They seem
All
like
right.
Josh guys.
Yep. I'm with you. Where
I
did we not pick Trey Harris in our last mock?
No,
We didn't.
yeah, he fell out somehow.
What?
There's a tornado on the ground in Iowa. I'm watching now too.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it's
Keep
awesome.
us posted.
Yeah, the radar signature looks pretty cool.
I think that's just called Jalen Noel.
Cyclone.
Heyo.
Who am I looking for? Scatabo. There he is. Okay. Number 19, the Juicers, first pick of this draft, traded out of the first round at number 7 to get the quarterback of the future, Mr. Tush Push, and now his first pick of this draft. Last time we had him selecting Dylan Sampson. That will not be happening here today. I think we've kind of worked through our entire little range that we've been discussing with the last few picks. Am I right? Is there anybody left here, or are we on a new frontier?
Maybe. I mean, Jack Best got brought up a little bit, but otherwise, yeah, I feel like this is kind of entering another tier possibly. And I don't know what the hell the Juices are going to do here. I mean, there are so many names that could possibly be taken here.
Yeah.
Like, I think, Jack Besh, second round capital is nice. I mean, Jalen Knowles been a big topic. Bashul Tootin, you start with him. You got tight ends, you got IDPs. I mean, it literally doesn't get more wide open than this.
Do you think he takes a player that he can't drunkenly pronounce? Bashul Tutin?
Um,
Let me see here. I mean, yeah,
I'm
running
looking at
back
his,
room.
man, it's just like he doesn't really have needs at this point. Like
He just traded for Terry McLaurin.
It's kind of crazy that this team is like, you look at it and you're like, he doesn't really need anything.
I mean,
think
the tight end room is a little weird.
There's a lot of names in the tight end room.
So many names.
But
I mean,
can you count on any of them?
Yeah. So maybe, I mean, I don't think he has a pick for a while after this. He does have 301. So I was thinking, if you really like a tight end here, you could take him, or you could take whatever tight ends there at 301.
Yeah.
So,
and if he does do that, he could do what he loves doing these days, and that's rolling the dice on IDPs. And Jihad Campbell is, we're in the value range on Campbell right now. I know he's hurt, and but the latest report is he's hurt, but they want him to start this year. So
yeah, ever since he had this switch in philosophy, I mean, we already saw it paid off last year, and it's a solid. I mean, the linebacker room is Devin Lloyd, who's pretty good, Quincy Williams, who's been good, and then Troy Anderson, Trevor Wallace. I mean, there's actually a lot of names in there, but I mean, if you really want to go all out on this defense, you could grab a Jihad Campbell here if there's not really a receiver that tickles your fancy.
I kind of like that. I think Jihad would be my choice here.
I love IDP.
Yeah, wheels up on this defense, best in the league from one of the worst we've ever seen.
What a story it would be here if he just keeps pumping assets into this defense and we get something really special this year. Number 20, the Men of Mystery. This is their 5th pick now in this draft. We've already given them an A+. This is an unbelievable draft. Can he follow it up? Can we go 5 for 5? Or what are we, 6 for 6? 5 for 5.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of open here. We passed on tight end a few times. So again, this is a spot where I think either he's thinking if there's a tight end he likes, or Bashul Tootin, because I'm looking at, again, the Web Best Ball draft, and he took Bashul Tootin right after Kyle Williams, Trey Harris, and Jaden Higgins were all taken. So if we're going to triple down on running back, I think Tootin's the guy. But if there's a tight end he likes, I mean, he doesn't have a third until pick 32, it looks like. So, I mean, you might still be able to get a tight end there, but it might not be your preference. You could go whatever tight end you like, or Bashul Tootin is kind of where I'm leaning, or, there's still Jalen Nolan, Jack Besh there. So there's options.
Let me think about it.
Okay. With 5 picks, we talked about it last time. He got Jaden Higgins. We went running back. We got the top IDP. We got a great wide receiver with Higgins. At this point, it's almost like you grab like a Mason Taylor here, and suddenly you have addressed every single position.
Yeah.
And with great players. I mean, Mason Taylor, like maybe it's a tick early based on where I have him, but I wouldn't say it's early in the grand scheme of the draft. I mean, this tier is wide open. I think this tier includes a player like Mason Taylor, who maybe is not going to be a factor for him this season, but man, could develop into a player that he can start for the long term a couple years from now. And at pick 20, that's a pretty good bet or a pretty good option.
Yeah, I think, whatever tight end you feel like you like the most is a good option here. Mason Taylor, got Harold Fannin, Elijah Roy, maybe you throw Terrence Ferguson in there too. So, yeah, I think you take whatever tight end you like, and I'm cool with Mason Taylor here.
Yeah, I was debating between Tootin and Taylor, and I think Taylor's just the safer, not as flashy and exciting, but you already have a great draft class. Let's just round it out with this kind of player.
All right, Mason Taylor, there he goes. Number 20 was not in mock 1.0. 21, the Keel Pros.
Hey.
He's here. Welcome to the draft.
You gonna put it in Sharpie?
God, no. I don't think there's any way I could predict how it's going to fall, even though we have nailed it. But
let me ask you this: if the board does in fact fall this way, you don't have to say which player, but is there a player today that you're like, yeah, that's the guy, or are you still like, I don't fucking know?
I think there's a tier where, based on how this is going, I think I'm going to end up with a player I like at 21. But
okay,
yeah, it just depends how it plays out.
All right, so we got to figure out who that is, Papoose.
Oh, good Lord.
And I mean, I'm kind of thinking, ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on a minute.
Think about it. I like your idea.
I got to look at the Keel Pros roster real quick.
Does he have a quarterback?
That's what I'm looking at, because we just okay, he traded for McCarthy. So Allen and
right.
McCarthy is fine. I think Cam Ward is in play because it's just, I mean, Josh Allen could be on the move at any point. I'm not ruling that out. So McCarthy and Ward would be a nice young quarterback room. Hope one of those emerges, but not sure Caleb wants to spend his first pick here of the draft on a player like Cam Ward. I think he wants to have a little bit more fun and grab a skill player of his choosing. I think Noel is certainly a name here that would make a lot of sense. Man, are we really just down to Noel and Ward here? That's kind of how I feel.
I think he takes the wide receiver if it's down to those two.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think he's fine with Allen and McCarthy, and just
and if he trades Allen, it's probably in a trade that involves Drake May. So what does he need Cam Ward for? So all right, let's go with Jalen Noel here at number 21. I think the boys might have just screamed a little bit seeing that and go off the board. But at number 22, the boys, while they may have wanted Jalen Noel, there has been a lot of noise out of the boys' camp relating to a certain white wide receiver who is on the board here at 22.
This feels like a slam dunk.
I mean, there's been at least 3, maybe 4 tweets in the last 2 months about Jack Besh coming from Dave, and some of them feel like late nights. Like I'm like 6 beers in, and I'm just watching Jack Besh highlights and tweeting at 11:30 p.m.
Yeah, I have the quote. Jack Besh, tough. I'll do what you need to, coach. Major Adam Thielen vibes wearing 18. Play style too. Versatile and could be a good possession wide receiver in the NFL. As it sits, he's unlikely to be fantasy relevant, unfortunately, but might just bust ass and become a guy, though. And I mean, that was before we knew he went in the second round. So I think maybe he gets that capital. Yeah, I mean, it's a wide receiver. So
it's got to be.
I hate this guy's face. I'm locking it in. I hate this guy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
If this guy ever touches my roster, I want you to know that I have been kidnapped and replaced. And you need to do a welfare check.
Okay. Well, We'll see what Dave has to say about that.
Maybe I
But-
should. I kind of want to just get Jack Besh now, just so I can just trade him to Tim to get him like kidnapped and everything. That'd be kind of
Wow, that hurts.
4D chess.
All right, 2 picks left. Number 23, the Rebel Alliance. Last time we had him selecting Cam Ward. Personally, I think if the board falls like this should be the easiest pick of the draft since like number 3.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
get
it's got
Cam Ward.
Yeah, it's got to be Cam Ward. This feels like a solid spot to take him here, and the quarterback room is literally just Lamar and then Malik Willis, who's just a backup NFL QB. So like he needs the backup quarterback. If he wants to move on from Lamar, then maybe Cam Ward can be the heir apparent. So yeah, I think this would be the pick for him.
As a man who loves drafting quarterbacks, regardless of his quarterback situation, if you get this deep in the draft and you can pick the 101 of the actual draft, I think you just do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the value is certainly starting to, become very enticing. And meanwhile, we have a team with perhaps the biggest quarterback need in Webb, which is weird to say because he has potentially the best quarterback in Webb, but nothing after that, and potentially in a position where trading Lamar Jackson is not necessarily off the table. So he needs to get the future, or at least some semblance of balance in this quarterback room. I think he does that here with Cam Ward. And that leaves just one. The Keel Pros. I'm pretty sure last time
Yeah, we traded up. Colin traded
yeah,
up for Devin
Colin
Neal.
traded up here. He had to secure Devin Neal. The Keel Pros ain't trading down here. I feel like we are in a position. We got Jalen Knoll. I think there's going to be a player here that you want to just draft. But who is that player? God. Let me pull up my board. I mean, Bashal Tootin certainly could be the guy here. There's been some absolutely heinous reports. I can't even call them reports. Just heinous takes from the Dynasty nerds that Bashal Tootin is the running back to own for the Jags. I couldn't disagree with that more, but perhaps the value here at 24 is good enough to take him. Papoose, what do you think?
Yeah, I think at this point, he's an exciting player. Just take him. I mean, if you want someone who might make some production right away, you could go like Arroyo, since he has nothing in front of him. But Tootin's more fun.
Tootin is fun,
His name
and
Toot.
I mean, yeah. Just a great name, and let's get him in here. Bashal Tootin, 24th overall, and there is 2 rounds of the web draft. 24 for 24. We crushed it, nailed it. I mean, I don't see what we could have gotten wrong here, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Feel pretty good about this one. I'm sure I don't want to click the 2024 tab and see what we did.
Yeah, because I think we said the exact same thing last year with the last mock.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it wasn't terrible, honestly.
with the first 4 right, and then we had McConkey going to
Ladd
Dave and
and
traded up.
Yeah. Ladd and Brent. I mean, pretty close.
Pretty close.
So maybe we nailed it.
Uh-oh, everyone's panicking right now. Like, wait, how did they
Oh.
know? How did they know that was my guy? But
You guys are mind readers.
hey, I got inside your mind on spicy predictions, didn't I?
That was pretty good. That was spot on.
See? It's almost
I
like I think about Webb way too much.
Take a lot of notes. I always have an active ear, always listening. Little
That's right.
birds.
That's right. Well, regardless of how well we did on the final mock of 2025, the more important thing is that the draft is 4 days away. We are rapidly approaching the summer spectacle, the night of the year, and I cannot wait to hit the speed shop with all of you fine folks and get fucking trashed. So let us know what you thought of the mock. But more importantly, I can't wait to see you all on Saturday night. Fellas, thanks for joining me. And any closing words before we turn our eyes to Saturday night?
Get ready for my meat.
Oh, yeah. I've been dreaming about that meat for weeks at this point.
The wing, I mean, they absolutely slap. And then it's like the 5th round, and I'm like stumbling around, and I'm like, oh my God, there's more. And there's just like cold wings. And I'm just
I've
like scarfing them down.
Never remember how much I actually have to buy. I think I'm just gonna buy like 5 packs of Costco wings. I don't know. I feel like that's too many. But I feel like
think it
Whatever
worked
you
out.
think's too many, it's not
It's
enough.
not
it's a
enough.
lot
yeah.
of wings, man.
We got a lot of people.
If you need another Venmo, like I do whatever you got to do. We need to literally just have wings all night. Everybody needs like
Yeah.
24 for themselves.
Man, all right. I'll bring it.
All
Bring the
right,
heat.
fucking bring it.
I've never made this barbecue sauce before. I thought that one came out of left field. I didn't think that was gonna be a suggestion. So I'm intrigued.
I love it, and the folks that were from the bar era of wings, the Gold Fever. I mean,
Ooh.
that shit slaps. So we're gonna see Papooses' take on the Gold Fever.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
We're all excited. Yeah. Let's get it, folks. Web draft 4 days. Let's make it a very quick 4 days.